Have you been toiling in mid-management and think you're ready for a promotion or a raise, but you're not quite sure when or how to position yourself to ask for what you want? I'm Cheryl Grace, and you might want to join me every second and fourth Sunday of each month as I help my rising star mentee climb up the next rung of the career ladder on Live from the Pink Couch. Mailee has a heart of gold, and she wants a career that reflects that. She has 16 years of very impressive work experience with a who's who roster of household name brands like GE, Discover, and Walgreens, but she hasn't been able to break into a vice presidential role yet. Mailee made the switch from for-profit to nonprofit 3 years ago in her quest to do good in the world. And she's currently the Senior Director of Communications and Marketing at a nonprofit organization, but she's ready to move on up to the east side of the executive suite and become a vice president. Mailee has been working the last 8 weeks on getting out of her comfort zone and delegating work to her team. And she's also been trying to identify other companies or organizations that may provide her the coveted VP title she so richly deserves. Mailee's pink elephant goal is to be promoted to a vice president by July 1st, 2021, either at the company where she is or at a new company. Now, Mailee's last homework assignment was to develop the list of 10 Chicago-based companies and nonprofit organizations that she'd want to work for and break it into her top 4, 2 for nonprofit companies and 2 nonprofit companies. Say hello to Mailee, the rising star. Mailee, as you know, each episode I identify a professional coach or someone who is already living the career dream our mentees want to be living to voluntarily work with the mentee to help them with their professional challenge. The mentees don't know who's going to be coached until we're live, right? But Mailee, today, not only are you being coached, but you're also being coached by the president and CEO of one of the organizations that was on your wish list. How cool is that? Everyone, meet Dorie McWhorter. Dorie McWhorter is a socially conscious business leader, and in March 2013, she left a high-paying, very prestigious corporate job to become the CEO of the YWCA of Metropolitan Chicago. She has embarked upon a journey to transform the 140-year-old social service agency to a 21st century social enterprise. In so doing, Dorie earned the privilege of being a 2019 Chicago Innovation Hall of Fame inductee. She is also currently the Illinois CPA Society Board Chair, and she also happens to be a really great friend of mine, and she didn't hesitate to join us on today's show. Everyone, let's give a warm welcome to Dorie. Hi, Dorie.
Hello.
Now, Dorie, thanks so much for stepping up to this opportunity. You have such a warm heart and a strong business mind. I couldn't think of anyone who could better be suited to spend a few minutes talking to our rising star mentee, Mailee. And Mailee, what an honor to have Dorie here to chat with you personally. I'm going to turn things over to the two of you for the next 12 minutes or so. But Mailee, you literally have the opportunity to sit at the feet of an icon, so enjoy. But before I let the two of you talk, I think this is a great opportunity for a Cheryl's Pink Couch Tip moment. Cheryl's Pink Couch Tip. You never know who knows someone, which is why networking every single chance you get is so important. Mailee, you didn't know I knew Dorie personally when you put her on your list, and yet your list manifested her being here with you today. You guys, writing things down makes a difference, as does networking. And with that being said, Dorie, I turn Mailee over to you for the next few moments.
Great. Well, thank you, Cheryl. First, I'd just like to say I'm so honored that Mailee actually identified the YWCA Metropolitan Chicago as a company that she's interested in learning more about. And I'm just here for your support, Mailee. So feel free to ask questions. I'm happy to give you perspective as well.
Okay. And thank you for participating and providing your insights. I think, one of the first questions I would like to ask is, I think Cheryl mentioned you've been in this role for 7 years,
Yes.
approximately. So as you came into this leadership role from for-profit to nonprofit. What are some of the, maybe the top one or two things that you really were able to translate and use to further the organization's mission? Just thinking about my next level and as a vice president.
From my background, the perspective, I was a partner at a public accounting firm. So while I was in a senior level, I wasn't the CEO of the firm, which is a different role and a position. So it was curious for me, looking at your background. When you say VP, what exactly are you desiring in that role? Because I do think it means different things for different people. It can be complete P&L responsibility for a business unit. It could be expense management of a line item. Like, what does that mean in your particular role? What experiences are you looking for as a VP? And then I'll actually answer your question.
Okay. When I think about my next level or my pink elephant, it's managing not only the team but the department, really being part of this most senior strategy team who's supporting the executive leadership, who is helping them think as communications and marketing as a strategic function, helping them problem solve, helping them position their organization and their thought leadership, and being able to create that strategy.
So part of it for me, is it the title or the role or the scope and responsibility that you're desiring? And so I just wanted to get a little clarity around that. From my perspective, from my journey, I recognize that the background that I had could be very useful to the YWCA. So as you talked about, recognizing that the discipline that you're, the functional area that you're in, finding an organization that can heavily utilize what you're looking to do, as you described it, as the span of responsibility that you described. I think it's probably more about the organization and where they are, and if you could fit within that organization at the right time.
Yeah, I think that's really insightful. I think the organization I'm at right now, it's a great organization. It does a lot of good in our community and in the world. And it's going through a transition phase. The organization is stretching itself. It's adapting to where I think the social service sector is today and where it's going in the future versus sort of its storied sort of approach for 130 years of doing, the work, but it's more about how are we demonstrating uplifting impact. And I think, it's exciting, and it's also, is the organization ready for what I want to bring and how I want to be recognized?
I think from our perspective, when I was asking you around what did you see as a VP role, that for us, you have many of those things. For example, the broad-based industry exposure, the leadership roles, and being able to manage a team of folks. So for our VP levels, that's what we're looking for. And so that's what I was trying to understand when you said VP. What was that experience that you were looking for under that title per se? And for us, we definitely are looking for folks that can lead in a way that can advise the most senior leadership team as well, in terms of the strategies that we need to be taking on at this time. So I think for our perspective, you have a lot of that. I think for you, it's about how do you craft that and demonstrate that this combination that you have of nonprofit and for-profit can be of value in other scenarios, regardless of the tax status of the organization. We know that any sort of job opportunity is a combination of the role in the organization itself. And so I think that you have to clearly do that sort of personal evaluation or assessment. Is it the role that you want, or is it the organizational experience that you want? That which one would sort of take priority in that? Because if it's about the organization, I would think that if there's opportunities to be in other senior roles in that organization, can you think about if there is a movement there that can be had? And if not, that's when, of course, you need to think about, are there other organizations that would be a better fit for you, given what you want to do as well? And so sometimes it's actually worth exploring if it's about the organization, sort of what's under the tent, particularly if it's a large organization, there could be other ways. The benefit sometimes is if the people know and trust you, they'd be willing to be flexible. I would hope that they would be willing to be flexible. I can speak to myself, where we have moved people around because we know the person, we like the person, we want to support the person, and we don't want to lose the person. That if they have an interest that we, or we don't have a role that we can use to meet their exact goal. However, if there's something else that could be of value to the organization and can also utilize their skills, we, at least I should say, I have created a lot of roles just to do that thing to keep the person. So that's one pathway. But then I also think that exploring other organizations and what's available there is also helpful. I think Cheryl mentioned earlier about the importance of networking and meeting people. I think it's so important because people hire people. And yes, you have certain skills and attributes that they want to bring into their organization, but at the end of the day, it's about knowing that they have someone that can deliver, that they can trust, that they know can connect with what they're trying to accomplish. And so it's helpful to know those folks as well, or get to know those folks, especially during these times. First of all, I think it definitely depends on the relationship you have with that person, how deep you can go with some of that conversation. The first step, I think, that Cheryl mentioned, I think, is definitely a great one to be able to say, just to express what you're looking for. I think to lead with what you're looking for versus to lead what you're looking for, and if you're going to look elsewhere, it's probably not the best thing. Again, depending on your relationship, it could make a difference. But that way you can get an opportunity to see if that person can be an ally and support you if there are other roles in your organization, or even support you outside of the organization. One of the things that I actually pride myself on is that when people come talk to me that have worked for me throughout the years, is that I am so happy to know what they're looking for, because if I hear about an opportunity, I will absolutely connect them with that. Because I believe that if we're into helping people, then it's not just when they work with us, it's all of the time. And so I think a first step is absolutely to have that conversation, but really to convey to them what you're looking for and to see how much they could truly be a partner with you in that. And you'll be able to ascertain by the questions they ask you, or the suggestions that they may have, to see if they're going to be Team Mailee, or if you're going to have to figure out if you're going to have to do this on a stealth mode.
Dorie, thank you so much for those great words of wisdom. Mailee, I hope you really enjoyed this opportunity to meet with Dorie, and I know you guys are going to stay in touch. Thanks, ladies. Hopefully you two can connect directly again outside of the show. Check out the full live from the Pink Couch web series and keep up with all 5 mentees' progress on powerfulpenny.com. This has been a Powerful Penny LLC Pink Elephant production.